Hey, and welcome to the Starters Podcast Edition. I'm Dave Trinadoy, Joey Alfieri right over here, and
Yes, sir.
Simon Felikas right over here. We had a great night at Elixir, boys, on a couple nights ago on Tuesday. Still recovering from it, or how do you guys enjoy it?
Well, easy there, Joey. The recovering from fish and chips was nice. It was a nice recovery from the fish and chips and the fries. I like that.
Yeah, I'm. I think I was home by I don't know. I was home by 11, so I don't think there was too much recovering. But destroyed a couple of plates with a couple different people that were there. So I don't know what you guys did. I started all with the wings, and then I had wings, and I had the St. Louis barbecue burger with a side. Changed it up with a side of sweet potato fries.
Ooh, look at that!
Yeah, it was
Fancy.
legit.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice. All right, let's get down to business, boys. Question number one.
Yes. I'm watching
This
the
is
hockey.
a question. It's near and dear to my heart here, so be careful how you answer this. But will Lamar Jackson be a Baltimore Raven next season? He was obviously non-exclusive franchise tag today. So what do you guys think?
Giuseppe, you want to go first?
Sure. I think he is going to be a Baltimore Raven for the simple fact that I don't think anybody's going to go after him because I think everybody's in this together. I don't think you're going to find a paper trail here, but I think there's a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge with the owners. Look, I understand where they're at. They want to try to control the market as best they can. The Browns threw the market totally out of whack with that Deshaun Watson contract. So I really don't see anybody going after Lamar Jackson, which is crazy. As soon as it was announced earlier this week that he was on that transition tag or whatever they call it, not the transition tag, but the non-exclusive tag, right away, every quarterback needy team was like, nope, we're out. Nah, we're not interested. Oh, wow, what a coincidence. You guys aren't out. The only thing I'll say is this is the wild card. And you don't have to go very far from Baltimore. I think Dan Snyder, the Washington football team would be an interesting one because we all know that he's kind of being forced out of the NFL right now. And I just wonder if a last little jab at the other owners isn't, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay Lamar Jackson a big boat of cash. I'm going to mess up the quarterback market even more. And I'm out of the league. You guys, arrange-toi avec tes troubles, as they say in French. So I think he's going to be a Baltimore Raven because I don't think there's going to be anyone willing to give up 2 first-round picks and pay him the guaranteed cash that he's looking for. But I do think that they're all in it together. And it's disappointing. I mean, I personally, I wouldn't pay the guy all that guaranteed money. He's been out the last couple of years. But in this league, there are worse players that are making more money. So, but I think he's a Raven, long story short.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. He's going to Dan Snyder's going to sign him to $250 million, 200 guaranteed, screw over the other owners, and leave with like $5-6 billion, the highest transaction in sports history. So on his way out, I think he's going to be a Raven as well. I don't know why people are so. Yeah, I don't know about the collusion part. It's just that they don't have collusion is when we all call each other or we send each other text messages and we say don't sign him, don't sign him. I don't think that text had to be sent. Like the other owners wanted to destroy the Cleveland Browns last year when they gave a guy who was suspended
from football
$250 million guaranteed. So I can guarantee. Joey talks about paper trails. I can guarantee you there was 0 paper trails. Yeah. Didn't have to send this message. It's kind of like sending, hey guys, when Sam Darnold becomes a free agent, nobody give him $60 million guaranteed. Yeah. You don't have to send that message because it's just simply not going to happen. You got to remember this. Lamar Jackson bet on himself, and he failed. He lost. Wow. It's $250 million, most of it guaranteed for a guy who I believe it's 2, maybe 3 years that he hasn't been able to fulfill a 17 or 16 game schedule. So that was part of it, right? Like I love Lamar Jackson. The winning percentage is great. The numbers are great. But
the passing numbers are great too, by the way.
Yeah, they're
just people don't realize it, but they're pretty good.
Numbers are elite. His winning percentage is great, but the biggest question mark for him, he plays the most important position in all of sports, I believe, and he doesn't finish a season. That's not the recipe. Like, people can remove themselves from the evil ownership and the NFL owners are all greedy or this or that. Would you give $250 million guaranteed to a player? Forget what the player's name is. Would you give him $250 million when in the last 3 years he hasn't completed an NFL season? Jalen Hurts hurt this year. Justin Fields hurt this year. Tua hurt this year. Josh Allen not hurt. Not sure how he was hurt actually for a while. And it's a Jimmy G, Trey Lance. Keep going. Like, that position is brutal, especially if you're the guy who is not 3, 5, and 7 yards behind center and you want to take off with the football. I love Lamar Jackson. He's a great player, but I'm not siding with the owners here, but I'm totally getting where the owners are coming from here. I can't give that guy $250 million guaranteed. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it either. But there's a lot of contracts that are handed out that I wouldn't give out either. You know what I mean? So to me, usually these teams are all bidding against themselves. And when an elite quarterback hits the market like that, who wouldn't normally hit the market, these teams do foolish things. So just because I wouldn't do it, I don't know if I had the pressure to win. I might. Carolina, I might do it. Atlanta, I might do it. But now all of a sudden, nobody's ponying up. Come on.
He helps your team win games.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that the owners, there's one thing that the owners love more than the Super Bowl. And that's to make money. That's it. So they know, you know what, the Carolina Panthers, man, Lamar's going to help me get to 10, 11 wins. But then I got to start guaranteeing money for wide receiver when Justin Jefferson's going to have to get his guaranteed money. And I'm for the players getting guaranteed money. I don't care who gets money. I don't care who gets paid. I click my television on at 1 o'clock on Sundays. I want to watch football. Everything else is just noise. I don't get a piece of the pie, and I don't get a piece of Lamar Jackson's salary either. I don't care, but I get it from an owner's perspective. This is Pandora's box. The Browns slightly ajar. The next one is kicking it out, and then the owners aren't that. It's not those 32 owners won't be making the money that they want to be making. Are they right? Are they wrong? That's for another story. But from a business perspective, they're doing it because they don't want to go down the road of guaranteed contracts. If we were 32 owners, if we were part of the 32 owners, we would probably have the same mindset. Anybody listening to this podcast or watching sports would probably have the same mindset. To sit there and say that you're going to be the one rogue owner that's going to tell the other 31 owners that no, guys, we're guaranteeing everybody's contracts. This is how it's going to be now going forward in the NFL. Out you go, like faster than Daniel Snow. You'll be gone. So I love Lamar Jackson. I don't give him $250 million guaranteed, especially that I haven't seen him finish a season in the last 3 years.
32. You're the Ravens fan, man. I'm like, what do you want?
Man, it's tough. It's tough to get to that guaranteed money is definitely tough, especially with his injury history. But I want him to see in Baltimore. I want him to be a lifer with the Ravens. He's just fun. He's good. He's an amazing quarterback. And he's just entertaining. It's just so fun to watch him.
To go back to the gamble that failed for him, the Ravens have paid this perfectly. Oh, you don't hear? You are free to negotiate with all 31 other teams. We're not going to set the market. The other 31 teams that you think love and adore you, that will move mountains to have you as your starting quarterback, they're going to set the market. Well, it's been 3 days now, and nobody stepped up.
Well, that's why they're all in it together. They're not going to go out and pay him what he wants.
We can call it dirty pool, and you can call it collusion. I call it big business. This is
for sure. It is
dollar industry. You wanted to go down this road. Now, you thought that after putting up this season, if you stay healthy, you win a playoff game or whatever, you probably go out there and it's probably a little bit better. But there is that, asterisk that you didn't have a great season. You weren't healthy, and you thought that you were going to go and test kind of free agency here and that the world would be your oyster. You played that card. There's no takers. And again, if the reason is collusion, the reason is collusion. Fine, okay, whatever. You can sit there and complain about it and lawyer up if you like. But
there's no lawyering up because they're not stupid enough to leave a paper trail.
But again,
you're not going to be able to prove it.
He bet on himself, and he bet that he would take his skills to the offseason, and there'd be taker after taker after taker. He was wrong. That's it.
All right. There was another quarterback news that broke today that's pretty important, and that is that Aaron Rodgers is slated to speak at a psychedelic science conference coming up. TMZ broke that news a few hours ago. So that's big if you're on the psychedelic.
I'm like 30% sure I even know what that is. 32.
That's fine. The less you know, probably. Probably the better.
I think there was a band in the 80s called the Psychedelic Furs. That's all I remember.
All right. All right. Question number 2 brought to you by Elixir, 2 locations, DDO and Laval. Aaron Rodgers makes the New York Jets blank.
Weird.
He makes them the best team in the NFC East.
AFC.
And the second best team in the AFC.
Okay. Good luck with that.
I think they're better. Listen, go through the Bills, depending on how free agency goes here, and maybe Stephon Diggs doesn't come back. We'll see. Mm-hmm. I'll take my chances with Aaron Rodgers staying upright and healthy over pretty much any quarterback in the entire AFC. So he's going to play. He's going to get his snaps in. Not sure who's quarterback in Miami. Don't really care who's quarterback in the Patriots. Could be Mac Jones. He's not Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Josh Allen. But don't be surprised if that slight little window for the Buffalo Bills may not be there anymore. They lost Von Miller. They'll maybe lose a couple of more players on defense. And then you start moving around. I don't think there's anybody in the AFC South that is threatening. Of course, Cincinnati, depending on who Baltimore's quarterback is. Don't think much of the Steelers this year. I don't think they'll be threatening. I don't think the Browns will be threatening. I'm still waiting for the Chargers to be good. Don't know who the quarterback for the Raiders is. And I think the defending Super Bowl champions are still the crown jewel of the AFC. But I would put them up there as the second best team in the AFC. This team came out of the gate last year 5-0. 5-0. And who was the name of the white kid? Mike White?
Mike White, yeah.
They were relatively productive with him. I watched Aaron Rodgers play a lot of football in my life. A lot of football. Completely unmotivated last year up until it mattered, and they almost ran the table at the end of the season. They were sitting at 4-8, and then they're playing on a Sunday night in Week 17 with a win and get in. They failed. They failed miserably, but I still think there's a lot of good football there.
I think there's a lot of good football. I question the commitment, and I know I'm going to, I said weird. I think that Aaron Rodgers definitely makes them. I think they're a playoff team. I don't want to have them where you have them, Simon. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender just yet. And if you have them as the second best team in the AFC, that means they're a Super Bowl contender. And I'm not there. Just the thing that was disappointing with me about Rodgers is it's not necessarily the season that he put together last year. It was more why that came about. Like, we knew once Devontae Adams got traded, give them credit. Christian Watson early in the second round ended up being a great pick, but it took time for them to get there. And I feel like a lot of that is on the quarterback because, didn't show up to OTAs. I don't think, was late to camp. And they didn't get the chemistry down and that camaraderie down on the field until later on in the season. And I put that on the 37-year-old quarterback who's now 38, if I'm not mistaken. And so the Jets are a young team. I'm not saying he's bad for the locker room, but I don't know. You moved to New York. Is that gonna motivate you? Is that gonna light the fire in you again? I don't know, man. And it's a young team.
But that young team, Joey, knows exactly why they didn't make the playoffs last year because they got 0 out of the quarterback position. I'm not talking about Ryan Tannehill running up in that locker room. I'm not talking about Matt Ryan coming in that locker room.
I get it.
Like the guy coming through the door, the same effect Tom Brady had when he walked through the doors of those the Tampa Bay Buccaneers locker room. Hope.
But those Tampa Bay teams are better than what New York has.
I think they were ready. They were getting ready to go to the next level. It was kind of like Tom got there at the right time. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Rodgers, maybe this team, pardon the pun, they're a little bit greener, but
a lot greener.
Well, listen, Joe. If he sticks around for a couple of years.
That's a big if, though. Like, that's the thing to me. It's not a fit with the Jets. Just because, I know they want to upgrade at quarterback, but to me, it's just you're going to make this move for a guy who's going to be there for a year, maybe 2 years. I don't know, man. To me, I would have rather, if I'm the Jets, I would have rather gone out and got an upgrade, but somebody I know was going to be there longer term. So look, does Rodgers make them better? There's no doubt about it. But am I convinced? Am I as sold as you are that they're the number 2 team in the AFC? I'm not there. I'm not buying it. I want to see it before I believe it.
I like the hot takes, though, so keep them coming, Simon. I liked it. All right. Question number 3, brought to you by
won 2 of the last 3 league MVPs, man. Like, we forget about it. Like, there's been
no, I didn't forget.
Giving out the last 3 years.
I didn't forget about that.
Home, man.
I didn't forget about that. I'm just telling you, I don't think that this is the ideal landing spot for him. And New York media is going to be fun. I'm going to tune in.
Hit me with an ideal landing spot.
An ideal landing spot?
San Francisco?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think that's realistic. I mean, yes, but I don't think that's realistic.
Raiders?
Yeah, I think the Raiders are because they have some older players. I think I'll take the Jets' future ahead of the Raiders' future. There's no doubt about it. But look, if he's willing to commit 2 years and 3 years, he can give me some good football. All right, it's not bad. But if we're gonna go through the soap opera next year, I'm already kind of tired of it. I'm tired of talking about this guy all the time.
Yeah,
but he's a great player, no doubt about it.
All right, let's move on to the NBA. Fred VanVleet, a couple of days ago, a few choice words for the officials, including Ben Taylor saying he was effing terrible. He was fined $30,000 today. Hate it or love it, guys?
Look, I'm super competitive. Have I had some choice words for officials in beer league sports? Yes. I just think at that level, I get it. It's frustration. You're in the heat of the moment. It was Scott Foster the other night, Ben Taylor a couple nights later. I understand. I get where the frustration comes from. You know, I guess you hope that your players, your star players, your key veterans are a little bit more professional. But I think in this case, he's trying to set a message. He's like, I'm going to pay the $30,000 fine, but I'm going to send a message. We're in a heated playoff race, and I want some calls. I want some credit down the stretch here where these games are going to become even more crucial for this team. So I don't know. I didn't think it was a great look, but I certainly understand the strategy behind it. I really don't have much more than that.
I get the level of frustration. I think if I was a professional athlete, there'd be fines, me cutting checks to the league. But we have to be careful here. Like, it's nice, but what are we going to do? Every time that who's playing tonight? The Bucks are playing tonight, I think, against the Nets. Is Drew Holiday going to go off on an official? And tomorrow, is it going to be, RJ Barrett? Like, we have to, the boys are professional, and I completely understand, the level of frustration. But, I'm a parent, and, my daughters compete in sports. And the last thing you want to come home to is, the officials jobbed us, the officials screwed us over. Like, okay, but I get it. Fred VanVleet's not that type of player that's going to be complaining in front of a microphone that often. The guy had enough, and he went off on the official. That's enough now. Goes back to, was it 2 nights ago with Scotty Barnes?
Scott Foster, yeah.
Scotty Barnes deserved to get knocked out of that game, tossed out of that game 1,000%. Out you go, young man. Joey, you can call an official blind. You can call him a moron. You can ask him, what he's seeing. You can ask him if, how bad are you today? Where's your strike zone? I can't believe that. The one thing you cannot do at any level of sports is to question their integrity.
Oh, come on. Don't be so sensitive. Don't be sensitive. Who cares, Simon? It's not a straight ejection. It's a technical foul, man.
No, it's an ejection. Listen, Serena Williams got in trouble for the same thing. You can argue balls and strikes, and you can argue ball in and out. You can't question a official's integrity. It's in the rules. So Scotty Barnes questioned his integrity. The rule says you get ejected. Out you go. What are you complaining?
It's lame.
We have to, these professional athletes that you're shocked when you get tossed out of the game. Dude, you question the integrity, you're gone.
Don't be so sensitive, Scott Foster. Nobody paid a ticket to see you. Just let it slide off your back. Give him a technical foul and get out of here. Move on.
He can tell him he's blind. He can tell him he's incompetent.
Who cares, Simon? They're just words in the heat of the moment. Who cares?
Ask him where he got his reffing license. Did he get it in a Cracker Jack box? You can ask him all these things. You can say all these. You can question his masculinity. You can do all these things.
No, you can't do that.
Well, probably that you can. But you cannot question an official's integrity. If you do it, you're gone. So I don't know why Raptors Nation was so overwhelmed by this. It's the one thing you can't do.
It's being
You can
sensitive.
go
It's
down
not
the
about
court with, your hand got, and you get teed up for that.
not about Scott Foster. It's not about it's words. Shake it off. It's heat of the moment. Move on. Call him on a technical foul. You can't eject him off.
It is. No, you're wrong. You keep saying that, but you're wrong. It's in the rule book. So
it's lame. Who cares?
All right, take it up with David Stern then.
The rule book is lame.
Adam Silver. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Take it up with Adam Silver.
Hard to take it up with David Stern.
But it's you can't do that. But it's in the rules, so I don't know. You don't have to like it.
It's lame. That's all I'm saying. It's lame.
That's fine, but it's in the rule book.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next question, boys. Brought to you by Vivaldi. Steve, owner of Vivaldi, was nice enough to join us at Elixir. I think he saw both of you gentlemen there.
First time I met him. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, very fantastic guy. And you got to work. I'm going to bring you there one day, Joyce. One day soon.
Let's
we'll
go.
You keep saying
it.
Try to do it.
What?
Keep saying you're going to take it. Just waiting.
All right. Question number 4. Does CF Montreal start to the season worry you at all?
Back to me?
Yes.
Sure.
Hell yeah. Joey brought up a great point last week, or was it on the show, that they started last season, their greatest season ever, at least from a regular season standpoint and a point accumulation standpoint. They start with these West Coast trips, and last year it wasn't a good start.
0-3-1.
Yeah, and here they are 0-2, but no goals, never really dangerous. Depleted roster coming into this season, losing probably your best most off, a guy who handles the ball the most. You lose him about 2 weeks before the end of camp. Sam Piette is playing on your back line. Not that he did anything wrong or he was bad or anything, but you're taking guys and moving him to positions that they're just simply not comfortable in playing in, or haven't played in a very long time. Probably goes back to his bantam days or something, or U15 days, whatever they're called. So there's James Pantemis is your number one. He's out as well. So we're 2 games in. Injury started in the preseason. You're not scoring goals. Your designated players are not showcasing themselves like designated players. So a little bit of concern for me.
Yeah, you only have one designated player. I wouldn't be concerned.
Victor Wayama is.
He is.
But I thought this year he wasn't under the.
He is a DP. He re-signed as a DP. I wouldn't be concerned.
What is at Kyoto then?
Sure, that's fair. I wouldn't normally be concerned, but I think Simon hit on something that's really interesting. It took till question number 4, but he finally got there.
Boom.
But all kidding aside, the injuries are what's starting to concern me. Like the injury list is starting to pile up now. There were 3 center backs down already last week. It looks like Waterman is getting healthy. I saw where he could have played against Austin, but they wanted to take it easy. Sam Piette is now banged up. James Pantemis, you mentioned, is out for an extended period of time. And there's a couple of nicks and knacks that are going around the team early on here. And again, we weren't in Florida, so we don't know what training camp looked like. We know that head coach Hernan Losada likes to push his guys, likes for his guys to be fit. I mean, is it already catching up to them? I mean, there's a Leagues Cup. There's Canadian Championship that they've got to play as well. So I'm not overly concerned yet. I'm not panicking, but the fact that there are injuries there, it is starting to worry me. That aspect of it is worrying me. And we know that they sold off a lot of key players. They brought in some guys, but it's more unproven depth. I guess I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. 2 games in, there's 32 games to go in the regular season, but injury-wise, like they got to start getting healthy, because if it keeps going this way and it's a la Montreal Canadiens, I mean, it's going to be a long year. So I'm not panicking just yet. I need some guys to get back.
All right, fair enough. Last question, boys. Question number 5, brought to you by Fresh MTL. What is more impressive, Connor McDavid's current season or the season the Bruins are having? Connor McDavid, obviously 124 points, but the Bruins have already 103 points on the season. They've won 10 in a row. They have 49 wins, and they still have 20 games left to play. So what is more impressive to you?
Did you want to add something here, Salikis?
No, I'm just checking. I know the Bruins are playing the Oilers tonight, so I just
Well, I think what's more impressive to me. What's more impressive
Shocking
to me?
result. Shocking
Okay.
result.
What's more impressive to me? I'm gonna assume that means Edmonton's winning.
Well, they're down 2-0, and they won 3-2.
Oh, and they won. Okay.
When you're done this, go check Boston's record when they go up 1-0 or 2-0 on teams.
Yeah. I think what's more impressive or what's more surprising to me was Boston. Boston has had to deal with some adversity early on in the season. They hired a new coach after getting bounced early on in the playoffs last year. Like I thought, I counted out Boston last year, and they proved me wrong. So I didn't count them out totally this year, but I still had them as a team fighting for a wild card spot or competing for that third spot in the Atlantic Division. I'm blown away by what they've been able to do. I mean, this is in the modern era. I think this is going to be one of the better teams when it's all said and done, assuming that they can finish strong. I mean, this is going to be one of the great teams or one of the great seasons that teams have put together. And I wasn't expecting it. Was I expecting McDavid to flirt with 70 goals? Probably not. But he's a freak. I know that. I'm expecting Connor McDavid to do some crazy things and to get better all the time. The Boston Bruins, aging roster, two of their best players or two of their best forwards are in their mid-30s now with Bergeron and Marchand. There was the uncertainty that could have been a distraction with the Pasternak contract before he signed. So I thought they would be a playoff team. I never, ever, ever expected this. So I'm way more impressed. Well, I shouldn't say way more, but I'm more impressed by what the Bruins are done just simply because I didn't see it coming. And the goaltending, I didn't see coming at all. Those two goalies have both been unbelievable, Allmark and Swayman. So credit to Boston. I sure hope that they can. Well, I don't hope, but I hope if they go on a long playoff run. If they don't, it would be disappointing. But Boston has impressed the heck out of me.
No, it would not be disappointing to me if they got bounced in the first round.
No, it would be great, but I'm just saying.
Look, they got their goalie. Like, just go back to talking Bruins and talking puck in July and August. They got their goalie off the reject pile of the Buffalo Sabres, right? The Sabres didn't want this guy, and the Bruins go and get him, and now he's playing at this incredibly high level. David Krejci was playing in Europe, had walked away from the National Hockey League. He comes back. Patrice Bergeron, to get him back on that 1-year deal, I don't think there was ever great doubt that he wouldn't come back, but there was a little bit of doubt that he might not come back. Brad Marchand didn't start the season. Charlie McAvoy didn't start the season. Like, if you would have told me, the Bruins are third place of the Atlantic and they got healthy right at game number 80, well, okay, when they're all ready to go and playoff, I could see them rattling off a win and maybe getting to a cup final. But when we're talking July and August, and McAvoy is supposed to come back in December, and so is Marchand, and like we said, Krejci and Bergeron were pretty much retired. Pasternak's on a deal. We didn't see any greatness from Taylor Hall or anything this offseason. New coach. The thing about McDavid, he is by far and away the best player in the world. He is better at playing hockey than anybody is, than Mbappe or Messi are at playing soccer. He's better than Jokic is and Giannis are at playing basketball. He's better than even Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge are at playing baseball. But he's not chasing 93 goals. He's not chasing, over 200 points. This Bruins team is going after the late 70s Canadiens teams. Like, that's rarefied air, man.
Yeah.
And I get it, the overtime extra point and all that, whatever. Their win-loss record at home is ridiculous. They go on these streaks of winning 7-8 games in a row. They haven't really been threatened by anybody this year. So I think it's got to be the Bruins. And it's even more impressive that Joey and I say the Bruins when you align Connor McDavid's stats. Yeah. It's not like, oh, will he get the 55 this year and will he, get 150 points? Dude has that already in the bank. But I just don't think is as impressive. I think if you would have asked Bruins fans at the beginning of this year, like again in September, like what are you expecting from your Bruins team? Probably would have thought Toronto and Tampa Bay would be better than them. Kachuk acquisition in Florida, that team was trending in the right direction last year. Most Bruins fans honestly would have told you fighting for a wild card spot at best.
Yeah.
And now they're after 82 games, they're going to be a Mount Rushmore regular season team. I think it's absolutely incredible what they've done this year.
Guys, Bruins first in the NHL plus 104 goal differential. You want to take a guess who's second and what they're at?
Who's second?
Boston is plus 104. Okay, Carolina is second.
I'm gonna go. I was gonna say Carolina. Okay.
Carolina's second, and what's their plus minus if Boston's 104?
They played 50-something games.
39. No, sorry. 63.
I'll give him a plus 63.
Plus 59. That's number 2 in the NHL.
Wow.
Jeez.
They're at plus 104. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Nuts.
You gotta look at, good for Jim Montgomery. He'll be the coach of the year this year.
He's got to be. I mean, he's got to be coach of the year.
I don't even think it's close. But look, we'll see what happens in the postseason. I don't see any team in the Eastern Conference. I thought maybe the Rangers, watched them play against the Habs today. They haven't played really well since the Kane and Tarasenko. It can all change come playoff time, but they have to get to a conference final to meet the Rangers. But I just look across the Eastern Conference, and I don't think there's a friendly – I don't think there's a very difficult matchup for the Bruins in there. Can somebody beat them? Sure. We've watched enough sports to know anything can happen. But I just don't see a team in the Eastern Conference.
Tampa.
Yeah, they got to hit the ground ridiculously healthy, Joey. They can't have Victor Hedman at 75%, anything like that. He's got to be ready. Ryan O'Reilly needs to be in the lineup.
Yeah.
But listen, I don't take anything away from Tampa Bay. You won the Cup twice in a row. You've been there 3 times. You know how to squeeze out a series. You put those guys on the ice, and Pasternak might be the best player out there, but Victor Hedman might be the biggest factor out there. So I'll always give Tampa Bay a puncher's chance, but I like nobody's chances against the Bruins.
All right.
They're 13 wins away from 62, which is the NHL record, and they have 19 games left to play. So that's
how many wins you say? 13.
They're 13 away. They have to win 13 out of their next 19, which for them,
it's just the thing is that you're so far ahead of everybody else.
Well, that's it.
Can you
like at what point you rest?
Like they're 9 points ahead of Carolina, and even then, it doesn't really matter except for home ice advantage. I mean, they're 9 points ahead of Carolina, who's the second best team in the East.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So, I don't know if there's going to be anything to play for, so maybe you rest some people. I don't know if there's going to be as motivated, but 13 of 19 could definitely be done.
Definitely. All right, John. Well, thank you very much.
I think 13 of 19, that lowers their winning percentage. They'll have to scale it back a little bit. The math says that 13-6 is not really an issue. It's going to get done.
Well, let me show you my St. Louis.
Oh, beautiful picture.
St. Louis burger. Boom.
I know one of our listeners, Angelo, came and he ordered the St. Louis burger, but with the chicken.
Chicken. I saw. I know. He told me he broke that down for me. I know.
That's a good choice. Good choice. Smart man.
Did anybody else think Angelo, Jimmy Garofalus separated?
Oh, very close.
Did anybody say that?
A little bit.
I can see it.
It's in the face. I don't know. They look like long.
Going on.
They're both. I mean, they're both Greek, so there might be some years and years ago. You never know.
Long last names. That's
long last names.
There you go. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Please leave some comments and like it. We appreciate it. At the Starters 690 on all those platforms. So thank you for Joey and Simon. Thank you very much. And we'll catch you on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock on TN 690.